Greetings everyone. Welcome to the first video in this series, Women Who Inspire. In today's video, we are going to talk about Maria Salomea Skłodowska, who we all know as Marie Curie. My name is Davy Medal, and for a very long time I've been meaning to do a series of videos on women who inspire. My inspiration comes from all the wonderful women that I'm surrounded with. Women who have achieved so much in their personal and professional life. What is really heartening to see is that they still keep challenging themselves to achieve even more. I hope you find this video interesting, get to learn something new, and are inspired by the time this video comes to an end. Below is the link to a Facebook group that I've created. Please feel free to send me a request if you wish to join. The idea behind creating this group is to build a community of people who have inspirational stories to share and want to contribute in fruitful discussions. Marie Curie was a Polish-born French physicist. On the left, you can see the flag map of Poland. The red and white are the colors of the Polish flag, and the red lines define the boundary of Poland. Marie Curie was born on the 7th of November 1867 in Warsaw, which is the current capital of Poland. But at the time, Warsaw was controlled by the Russian Empire. Before World War II, a lot of the present countries were ruled by kingdoms and empires. Marie Curie, at the age of 16, won a gold medal on completion of her secondary education, and from the age of 17, she worked as a governess and a tutor for 6 years and sponsored her sister's medical studies in Paris. She herself studied part-time at a flying university. I have a really interesting anecdote to share with you all. You must be wondering what in the world is a flying university. Under the Russian Empire, university-level education for women was illegal. So, a number of pro-education groups came together to form a secret flying university or a floating university. And it was called that because they offered education in perpetually changing locations in a clandestine manner. They had to operate under the radar because if the Russian officers found out about the university, they would arrest the teachers and shut the university down. Marie Curie herself moved to Paris in 1891, and that is where she began using the name Marie. While studying in Paris, she met well-known physicists like Jean Perrine, Charles Mourian, and Aimé Cotton. When she was 24 years old, she enrolled at the Sorbonne University in Paris. In the spring of 1894, she met Pierre Curie, her soon-to-be husband. They got married on the 25th of July 1895 and gave birth to their first daughter in 1897. In the top picture, you can see Marie and Pierre Curie with their daughter Irene in the garden of the house on Boulevard Kellerman in 1908. In the bottom picture, you can see Marie Curie with her husband. Marie decided to do her thesis on radiation, which was discovered in uranium by Henri Becquerel. The findings of her research was that an ore containing uranium was far more radioactive than could be explained by its uranium content. This led her and Pierre to discover a new element in 1898 that was 400 times more radioactive than uranium. This new element was named after Marie's birth country and was named polonium. Polonium, as some of you may already know, has an atomic number of 84, and here on the top left you can see an electronic shell diagram of the element. In June 1903, Marie received her Doctorate of Science and with Pierre was awarded the Davy Medal of the Royal Society for their research on radium. Davy Medal is an award given to an outstanding researcher in the field of chemistry. On the bottom left, you can see what a Davy Medal looks like, and to its right, you can see a picture of Marie Curie's thesis for a Doctorate of Science in Physics. Here, you can see the laboratories of Marie and Pierre Curie where their experiments on uranium ore took place. Her major glory came in 1903 when Marie and Pierre, along with Becquerel, won the Nobel Prize for Physics for her research in radiation phenomena. With this award, Marie became the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize. What an amazing achievement this was for her and for women in general. Interestingly, when this award was first proposed, Marie was left out of it, but Pierre Curie, her husband, insisted that Marie share the honor. I'm sure most of you know what a Nobel Prize is, but in case you do not, it is considered as the most prestigious award given for intellectual achievement in the world. These awards are given in the fields of physics, chemistry, physiology or medicine, literature, and peace. On the left is an image of the Nobel Prize medal. Marie and Pierre gave birth to their second daughter in 1904. Her two daughters did not interrupt her intensive scientific work, and she continued to work on her research with the same vigor and energy as before. Hats off to her for balancing work and home. Here you can see a photo of Marie with her two daughters, Eve, who's on the right of Marie, and Irene, who's on the left. Tragedy struck on 19th April 1906 when Marie lost her husband Pierre, who was run over by a horse and carriage and was killed. For all of us, getting run over by a horse and carriage might sound a little weird, but remember that we are talking about 1906, more than a century ago, when horse and carriage was a very common mode of transport. In case you haven't seen one, this is how it looks, and it can be smaller or bigger depending on what it is used for. Pierre's death was a huge loss for Marie. They were extremely close to each other, and remember that they were not only lovers but they also did their research together. The good thing was that she was able to channelize all this pain and hurt that she felt at the time into something positive. And despite this tragic setback, Marie continued to devote all her energy to complete alone the scientific work that they had worked on. In 1911, she was awarded the second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry for the isolation of pure radium. Now, at the apex of her career and fame, she devoted her research to the study of the chemistry of radioactive substances and their medical applications. In the picture here, you can see Marie Curie in her chemistry laboratory at the Radium Institute in France. This is a group photograph of the attendees of the first Solvay conference on physics held in Brussels, Belgium, back in 1911. Since then, the conferences have been organized by the International Solvay Institutes for Physics and Chemistry. This picture is important because this was an invitation-only conference, and if you observe this picture closely, Marie Curie, sitting here, was the only woman to be invited to this conference. Do you recognize the other very famous physicist in this photograph? It is Albert Einstein, who's standing second from right. We have now reached my favorite part of the video. Most of us know Marie Curie as this very famous scientist who worked on radioactivity and discovered two new elements. But did you also know that she was a World War I hero? She achieved something amazing in the field of medicine. She was a smart woman who knew that war meant injuries to soldiers that will require medical attention. To address this issue, she built mobile X-ray units in Renault cars. Renault, as some of you might already know, is a very famous French car brand. In the picture, you can see Marie sitting in the driver's seat of one of her mobile X-ray units. These units were also called as petites Curies. Petites in French means small, and hence the name. Not only did she build these X-ray units, but she also trained around 150 women to operate these units. As you can imagine, these units were used at battlefronts, and according to one estimate, more than 1 million French soldiers were diagnosed using these units and then treated. 4th of July 1934 was indeed a very dark and a sad day for the scientific community. It was on this day that Marie Curie died at the age of 66. She died from aplastic anemia, which according to some experts was likely caused by radiation exposure. And it comes as no surprise because all her research was centered around radioactivity. And what is interesting is that she always knew that radiation was causing her body a lot of harm and damage. But in spite of knowing that, she continued her research and tried finding ways it could be used in the field of medicine. Interestingly, a few of her books are still so radioactive that they are stored in lead boxes. so you can very well imagine how much harm the radiations did to her body at the time. I want to talk a little bit about the legacy that Marie Curie left behind. First, she had a huge influence on subsequent generations of nuclear physicists and chemists. Second, her work paved the way for the discovery of the neutron and artificial radioactivity. In case you are wondering what artificial radioactivity is, it is radioactivity produced in a substance by bombardment with high-speed particles such as protons and neutrons. This is also called induced radioactivity. By now, you must have realized how great her achievements are. But if you take into account the discrimination that she faced, her achievements look even more awe-inspiring. Not only did she face a lot of discrimination for being a woman scientist, but she also faced discrimination for being a Polish woman working and living in France. As an example, because she was a woman, she was never elected at the French Academy of Sciences. Most people can only dream of getting a Nobel Prize, but to be able to get 2 Nobel Prize awards is simply outstanding. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and is the only person, and I repeat, the only person to win the award in 2 different science fields till date. Her awesomeness does not end here, because she is also part of the only mother-daughter team to win Nobel Prizes. Her daughter, Marie Curie, won her own Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1935 for the discovery of artificial radioactivity. In the picture, you can see Marie with her daughter Irene. Alrighty, that's a wrap of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and got to learn a few new things. Please feel free to like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for listening in, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye bye.